Well, hello everybody. Back here with a new project. I've had this for several months already. It's a Komatsu PC27MR-1. Actually, the tag says it's an MR1, but this little plate that come off the back says it's a MRX. I don't know what the difference is. I bought it with a blowed up motor for $3,000. I knew it had a blowed up motor. Tried to start it up with ether, dumped a lot of ether in there. I know that's not good, but I already knew the motor was pretty much toast, but I tried to get it to start up. And the hose coming off the breather, the valve cover, and the oil cap, I took them off, and it had the huff and puff, so had a bad motor, but not bad for $3,000. It only had 5,303 hours. I've already taken the motor out, and it took about a day. It was a 3-cylinder Yanmar, and I took it apart inside my shed, and the crank, the camshaft, bearings, all that, rods, and even the pistons were in good shape. The cylinders were worn, according to the machinist. They was worn down, and the piston rings stuck inside the piston ring grooves. I don't know why. It was a bunch of carbon. It just froze inside of it. The piston didn't melt or score or anything, but so it didn't have no compression whatsoever. So I had it taken to machinist, and I've already got the motor back. It's in the shed, so I'll show it to you in a minute. Looks like a brand new one, but I had to drag it off of the trailer with my dozer, and see that track come off in the process. That one over there stayed on. Taking the bucket off, it's got some slop in it. These two pins are really worn. It's hard to tell on the camera, but they've got a pretty good amount of wear on them. I'll either have new ones made or buy new ones. The pinhole on this bucket, it's not too bad on this one. This one's got a little bit of more wear on it, but it's still not bad. The bottom of the bucket's got wear on it. I could weld this up, and it's missing a tooth, so I gotta get a tooth. 16-inch bucket. Bushings in here and the boom, they are worn down, but they didn't wear past the bushing into the boom, so I can knock them out, heat them up, knock them out, and put new ones in there. Same way down here. Bushings up here, they got a little bit of wear, but it's not too bad. All the hydraulics work. When I tried to crank it over to start it, well, after I found out that wasn't going to work, I put the lever down, cranked it over, and pulled the lever to raise the boom. The boom raised up with the starter turning over and held, and so did the blade. So I know the hydraulics work. And the guy that run it, he blew it up 3 or 4 years ago and let it set, and he just didn't fool with it. An old man. He said everything worked good on it then, and just the motor blew up, and he let it set. And I offered him $3,000 for it, and he took it. And the tracks are in pretty good shape, other than that one being knocked off. But, I'll go show you the motor inside here. Alright, this is my motor back from the machine shop. The head was worked on, cleaned, resurfaced, and the valves checked, and I think the exhaust seats, he put new hardened seats in it. and the intake I think was what was good. He didn't need to, he just cleaned them up, and it looks good. The block, he looked for pistons, brand new ones. Here they are right here, aftermarket pistons from Japan, pretty good looking. He didn't bore it out until he could see what size pistons he could find, and he bored it 20 over and resurfaced it. And then it's hard to see down in there on this camera, but it's got a good looking crosshatch in there. Cleaned it up, looks like a brand new block. And this is the rear of the block, and that bushing right there is the camshaft bushing. That's the old one. He checked it, mic'd it, and he said it's still good, and he put new freeze plugs in it. The crank and camshaft, all he did to these was polish them. He said I can still run standard size bearings on it. He said it was good shape, this crank, and it looks beautiful. A little bit of dust on it. I had these rags covering everything up. Same way with this. This, of course, this only has one bushing, and it's right here, the one that's in the block. And these are the old pistons. And I left the rings on them, and they're still stuck in there. Good looking piston still, got carbon on them, not too much scoring. Of course, these are standard size, a little bit of scoring on that one, but it's not nothing much. These are still usable pistons. There's the new ones. This is the new ring sets right here, Japanese, which Yanmar's Japanese. These rods are still good. He checked them. The bushings in them are good. Wrist pin bushings, but I had to order a bunch of new parts from Komatsu, and they can find my connecting rod bearings, but they wouldn't sell me just the connecting rod bearings. I had to buy the whole rod for some reason through Komatsu. $445 each times 3 for 3-cylinder. Main bearings they could not find for some reason. He looked and looked, not available, so I got to buy them aftermarket somewhere. He could find the camshaft bearing, but I didn't need it. A gasket set and 14 head bolts, and all that amounted up to $1,900 just in parts. The machine work for all this work being done cost $2,080, parts and labor and tax. So $2,080 plus $1,900 before tax, might be over $2,000 after tax, so that's going to be over $4,000 in this little motor so far. Probably would have been cheaper just to buy a new one. And this is all the parts down here. Rockers, push pins, the head bolts, the old ones, which I got new of them coming, 14, oil pan and oil pan extension, timing covers, injection pump, flywheel, valve cover. All got it mostly cleaned up. I'm not done cleaning it yet, but I did look up a replacement engine similar to this one, not the same model but very similar. A little over $4,000 for a brand new one with everything on it. Probably would have been cheaper just to buy a brand new one, but I didn't know that at the time. And there's the oil pump sitting down here. Not gonna put that one in it. There's probably nothing wrong with it. We're gonna buy a new oil pump. We're gonna buy a new water pump. Put a lot of new stuff on it. Might as well, because it's a tight space in that little hoe. Very tight. And I don't want to have to replace anything in the future soon. I got a lot of work ahead of me. May video putting this together, I don't know. I got to do a lot of research, and I got the torque specs and everything so far, but I'm going to be more focused on getting this together right instead of videoing it. I got the manual right here. Big thick manual printed off the internet. Of course, that covers 3 different models of engines right there, but mine's in there. It's going to be a big job putting all that together. But paid $3,000 for it, so just buying it, $2,080 of machine work sitting right over there, plus the new pistons, and $1,900 worth of parts coming in through Komatsu right now before tax. So I got a little bit of money invested in it, so I better put it together and put it together right, because there's a lot of money sitting over there not to do it right. Blow that up, I'd be a little bit upset. But that's it so far. Thank yous for watching. Catch you next time.